Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, we're taking you to Las Vegas. Well, metaphorically speaking, of course.
Right. We are heading to the NBA Summer League.
Exactly. And usually, when we talk about Summer League on here, the conversation it's pretty light.
No, yeah. It's totally casual.
Right. It's all about who got dunked on or, wow, who looks like they put on 15 pounds of muscle over the summer. It's treated as this really fun, very low-stakes festival of basketball.
Yeah, people call it the Coachella of basketball.
I love that.
It's messy, it's loud, and honestly, everyone is just happy that basketball is back. It's a vibe.
It is a vibe. That's the fan perspective anyway. But we have a stack of articles and data here today that, it paints a very different picture for you.
A much harsher picture.
Definitely. We are looking at the anatomy of a specific narrative, a case study, really, involving two players, Corey Davis and Penny Hardaway.
And what the sources argue here is that Summer League, it isn't a fresh start at all.
Not at all.
It's actually a place where storylines are completely manufactured in real time. And often, this happens before a player even touches the ball.
Which is wild to think about.
It's a marketplace of narratives. I think that's the best way for you to think about it. You have the actual basketball being played on the court, which, let's be honest, is sloppy.
Very chaotic.
Extremely chaotic. But then you have the business machinery above it, the agents, the scouts, the media, and they're all trying to organize that chaos into a story that sells.
Right.
And this case study we have today, this pick 60 versus pick 2 situation, it is probably the clearest example I've ever seen of how that machinery actually works.
So let's set the stage here for you, because the context is absolutely everything. We are looking at two very, very different entry points into the league.
Opposites, right?
Complete opposites. On one side, you have Corey Davis. He was pick 60, the absolute last pick in the entire draft.
Mr. Irrelevant, technically.
Exactly. And the sources describe his situation in a way that just feels, I don't know, claustrophobic?
It's a good word for it.
Yeah.
Like, he's wearing number 44.
Which, for those of you who don't obsess over jersey numerology, that is the camp body number.
Right, it's a lineman's number in football.
Exactly. Star guards do not wear 44. It signals to everyone in the arena, the refs, the fans, the coaches, that this guy is likely temporary. He's just passing through.
And there's this quote from an assistant coach in the source material that really, really stuck with me. He told Corey, explicitly to his face, "You are here to earn air, not minutes."
Earn air. That is a devastating line.
It's so heavy.
It is. But we need to unpack what that actually means, practically speaking, because it sounds like this sort of tough love motivational coach speak.
Yeah, like something out of a movie.
Right, but it's actually an economics statement.
How so? Is it just about the pecking order on the team?
No, it's about asset management.
Yeah.
If you look at the roster construction, the team has invested millions of guaranteed dollars in their lottery picks.
They've invested guaranteed money in their second rounders, too. Then you have the undrafted free agents, or the late picks, like Corey.
The guys at the very end of the bench.
Exactly. They represent zero financial risk to the franchise. So when the coach says earn air, he's essentially saying, we have no financial incentive to put you on the floor.
Wow.
The team is contractually obligated to develop the guys above him, so Corey has to be so unbelievably good that he overrides the team's entire financial strategy.
That puts a completely different spin on it.
Yeah.
He's not just playing against the defense.
No.
He's playing against the payroll.
Precisely. He is fighting for oxygen. Every single minute he plays is a minute taken away from an asset that the team desperately needs to evaluate.
Which brings us to the asset with a capital A.
Yeah.
The antagonist of our story, if you want to call him that, or maybe just the foil.
Penny Hardaway. Pick number 2.
The chosen one.
The contrast here is the entire point of this deep dive. Penny is a 6'7" point guard. He was the very first guard taken in the draft. He has the massive shoe deal.
He has the camera crew following him from the bus to the locker room.
Exactly. He is the event.
And this is where I want to push back a little on the narrative idea that the sources bring up. Because Penny Hardaway, he's good.
Oh, without a doubt.
Like, he was drafted number 2 for a reason. It's not just pure media hype. The guy can play.
Absolutely. The talent is very real. But the opportunity gap is what creates the narrative we are talking about.
Okay, break that down.
Well, the sources detail the specific game in question. Penny plays 16 minutes. He puts up 22 points and 7 assists.
See, 22 and 7 in just 16 minutes. That's fantastic efficiency. Anyone would take that.
It is great. But let's look at how those stats actually happened. The source notes that even though his jump shot wasn't really he wasn't shooting well from deep at all, he quote-unquote controlled the game.
Right.
Why did he control it? Because the ball was in his hands every single possession.
The system was completely designed for him to fail or succeed on his own terms.
Exactly. When you are the franchise guard, the offense is heliocentric. Everything orbits around you.
The sun.
You are the sun. If you miss a bad shot, you are still getting the ball back the very next time down the court.
The commentators were describing his play as inevitable.
I saw that word in the articles. Inevitable.
Yeah, every drive, every single pass was framed as undeniable proof of his pedigree.
It's interesting the sources mention the other players, too, just to show it wasn't some isolated anomaly. You had Johnny Davis on the Wizards putting up 27 points and 10 rebounds.
A monster game.
And you had Aleksej Pokusevski for the Sixers, who was actually the opponent in this specific game, putting up 22 points, 13 rebounds, and 4 assists.
Right. And Pokusevski is described in the text as a Summer League alpha. These guys, Penny, Johnny Davis, Poku, they're allowed to make mistakes.
Because their volume is just so high.
Precisely. If you take 20 shots and make 8 of them, you still score 20 points. You look like a star on the box score. The system validates itself.
That makes total sense.
The high picks look like high picks because they are given the usage rate of high picks. Meanwhile, let's go back to the very end of the bench. What is Corey Davis doing while Penny and Poku are out there trading buckets and looking like alphas?
He is sitting.
Just sitting.
Sitting and sitting. And sitting some more.
This is something I think casual fans really miss. The actual physical toll of just sitting there. You're in a cold gym, or maybe it's a hot gym depending on the Vegas AC, but either way, your muscles are tightening up.
You're stiff.
You aren't getting any kind of rhythm.
It is the hardest thing to do in professional sports. Coming into a game completely cold.
Yeah.
The source emphasizes that for Corey, checking in didn't feel like an opportunity. It felt like a test.
And that is a huge psychological distinction.
Massive. An opportunity is, hey, go out there, have fun, show us what you got. A test is, do not mess up.
So the clock is ticking down in the game. He finally gets the nod. He checks in. How much time did he actually get on the floor?
4 minutes.
4 minutes total.
Yeah.
In a full 48-minute basketball game.
4 minutes. And this is where we get to the really granular detail of the game because the sequence is just fascinating. He enters the game. He touches the ball exactly one time on offense.
One single touch.
One touch. He catches the ball beyond the three-point arc. And remember, he hasn't played all night. He has absolutely no rhythm. He knows he's only out there to earn air.
The pressure in that split second has to be immense.
Unimaginable. If he misses that shot, he probably never sees the floor again.
So what does he do?
He pulls the trigger, no hesitation at all. Swish.
Ice cold. I love it.
It was a literally perfect shot. The source actually quotes one of the TV commentators who was genuinely surprised by it.
What did they say?
They said, that's a confident release for a guy who hasn't touched the ball all night.
That has got to be so validating for him. You come in cold, you do your job, you hit the only shot you take.
Yeah.
100% shooting. You are technically the most efficient player on the floor.
Statistically, yes. He was 1 for 1 from the field, 1 for 1 from 3 points.
Perfect game.
But this is where the story takes a sharp turn. And this is where we have to talk about the concept of the leash.
The leash, meaning how much freedom a player has to screw up before the coach pulls them.
Exactly. We mentioned earlier that Penny's shot wasn't falling, but he just kept shooting. His leash was infinite.
Right.
Corey hits his perfect shot, but then the mistake happens.
Okay, walk us through this mistake, because the source calls it a defensive 3-second violation.
Right.
And to the average viewer, that just sounds like a whistle, a minor infraction. Why is this such a big deal?
I know, it sounds like a technicality, right? But in the eyes of an NBA coach, a defensive 3-second violation is a cardinal sin for a role player. It is a process crime.
Explain that for us. What is a process crime?
So the rule is you cannot camp in the lane for more than 3 seconds without actively guarding someone. If you do, it's a technical foul. The other team gets a free throw and they get the ball back. When a rookie commits this foul, it signals 2 very bad things to the coaching staff. 1, you are drifting. You aren't locked in. You are ball watching instead of paying attention to your spacing.
So it makes you look like you have low basketball IQ.
Exactly. You look lost. And 2, it shows a lack of discipline. The source describes Corey's mistake as a late rotation and a moment of drifting. In the modern NBA, spacing is religion.
Right.
If you are clogging the paint because you are drifting, you are actively breaking the team's defensive scheme.
Yo, hold on a second. Penny Hardaway played 16 minutes. You were telling me he didn't drift once. You're telling me he didn't miss a single rotation in 16 minutes of Summer League basketball.
Oh, I guarantee he did. He likely missed several rotations.
Right.
But when pick 2 misses a rotation, the coaches say, okay, we need to work on his awareness in the film session tomorrow morning.
It's a teaching moment.
Exactly. It's an investment in his long-term development.
But when pick 60 does it,
It's a reason to cut him. The source is brutal about the immediate fallout of his play. The whistle blew. The experiment was over. Corey was pulled from the game immediately. He never went back in.
that is ruthless. One perfect shot made, one defensive error, and you are done for the night.
His final stat line for the game, 4 minutes, 3 points, and a -5 plus-minus rating.
Ouch.
And that -5 is what shows up in the box score forever. It implies to anyone reading it that he actively hurt the team while he was out there.
That is the danger of stats without context. You see a -5 and you think, wow, he played bad. You don't see that he hit his only shot and got pulled for a minor spacing error.
Exactly. And this brings us to the real core of the deep dive today, the narrative. Because the game ended, but the story was just beginning to be written.
The broadcast shifted instantly.
Instantly.
This is the part that really bothers me about sports media. The source mentions how the tone of the commentators changed from, curiosity to judgment. They started asking on air, how far behind is Corey?
How far behind is he? They aren't asking, did Corey get a fair shot to show what he can do? They're asking, why didn't he dominate the game like Penny did?
It's manufacturing a rivalry where one simply doesn't exist.
Right.
Pick 60 versus pick 2.
It's the content economy.
We have to understand the media's role in all this. They need clicks. They need engagement from the fans. A story about a 60th pick hitting one shot and getting pulled for a rotation error? That is boring.
It doesn't move the needle at all.
Right. But a story about the chosen one outshining the struggling rookie, that is a narrative arc. That is a classic hero's journey.
So they just slot these guys into pre-written roles. Penny has to be the star. Corey has to be the bust.
Exactly. The source notes the headlines that started popping up the very next morning. The future versus the afterthought.
Oof.
Penny soars while Davis stumbles.
Stumbles. The guy didn't miss a single shot he took.
That's a great way to put it.
The source makes a really interesting point about silence here, too. After the game, the assistant coach gave what they called professional empty words to the press.
Just standard corporate coach speak. He played hard, that kind of thing.
Exactly. No real praise, no real criticism. And Corey, he declined to speak to the media entirely.
I mean, can you blame him? What do you even say? I got pulled because I stood in the paint for 1 second too long.
Right. You can't say that without sounding bitter. But the source argues that because Corey didn't speak up, the media just filled the void. Silence is a vacuum.
Nature abhors a vacuum.
Exactly. If you don't tell your own stories, someone else is going to write it for you. And because the default setting for a 60th pick is he's probably not good enough for the league, that just became the default story.
So Corey is now fighting a battle on 2 completely different fronts.
Yeah.
He's fighting the coaches internally for minutes on the floor, and he's fighting a public narrative externally that says he's already failing.
He is in a race he never signed up for, as the source puts it. He has a massive deficit to dig out of now. And this is the real human cost of these Summer League narratives.
Yeah, we forget about that.
We do. We think of these guys as video game characters, just stats on a screen, but this is their actual livelihood. That -5 plus-minus rating, that might literally be the reason he doesn't get a two-way contract.
Wow.
That narrative that he is behind might be the reason a scout from another team decides not to take a flyer on him later in the year.
It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Think about it. The team invests heavily in Penny, so Penny plays. Penny puts up high-volume numbers, so the media praises Penny. Then the team feels justified and invests even more in Penny.
The cycle continues.
Meanwhile, Corey gets 4 minutes. He makes one mistake. He sits. The media calls him a question mark, a stumbling afterthought, so the team invests less in him.
That is exactly the cycle the sources are pointing out.
Yeah.
And it really makes you wonder about the psychology of the player in that situation.
How do you mean?
Well, how do you maintain that confident release we saw on that three-pointer when you know the entire system is rigged against you?
You would have to have completely irrational confidence. You would have to be delusional almost.
You have to be. If you start believing the timeline, if you start believing you actually are the afterthought, you are done.
You'll hesitate.
You will hesitate on the next shot. And if you hesitate in the NBA, you miss. And if you miss as pick 60, you are cut.
It really makes you look at the bust label differently, doesn't it? As fans, we love to label guys busts. Oh, he was a bust. He just couldn't play at this level.
It's an easy label.
But was he actually a bust? Or was he just a victim of a 4-minute leash?
That is the big question. We all assume the NBA is a pure meritocracy, that the absolute best talent always rises to the top no matter what. And over a long enough timeline, like a 10-year career, that's mostly true. But in the short term, in the margins of the roster during Summer League, it is absolutely not a meritocracy.
It's a narrative machine.
It's a narrative machine.
So for you listening right now, when you sit down to watch the next Summer League game or even a regular season game where it's a blowout and the bench gets cleared,
Yeah.
what should you be looking for?
Don't just watch the ball, watch the rotations. Watch how the head coach reacts to a mistake made by a star player versus a mistake made by a bench warmer.
The body language.
Exactly. And when you see a guy check into the game with number 44 on his back, realize that he isn't just playing a game of basketball. He is auditioning for his professional life in a 3-minute window.
And if he hits a three-pointer, maybe give him a little extra credit.
Absolutely, because that shot is heavier than anything the star player is putting up that night.
This has been a really eye-opening look at the machinery behind the game. It's so much more than just points and rebounds. It is money, it's narratives, and it's earning air.
It is the business of basketball.
Before we wrap up today, I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over, something to explore on your own. We spent a lot of time today talking about Corey's perfect shot, 1 for 1.
Perfect tiny sample size.
Right. If we judge a player's potential only by the narrative that the timeline creates, how many perfect shots do we miss out on just because the player didn't get the minutes to prove it was a pattern?
That's a great point.
How many basketball legends are walking around right now working regular 9-to-5 jobs simply because they got pulled after 4 minutes and never went back in?
It is a haunting thought. The graveyard of basketball history is likely filled with players who absolutely had the talent but just never got the story.
Definitely something to think about the next time you look at a box score. Thanks for diving deep with us.
Always a pleasure.
We will see you on the next one.